Many DePaul students park on streets just like this one. As you can see from the faded signage behind me, it's difficult to tell whether it's free to park here or not. With all of Greek life struggling to raise money during the pandemic, it's unclear whether Sigma Alpha Epsilon will be able to raise enough money to fully support Camp FASD. There are two exhibits right now at the DePaul Art Museum. The first is called the Stockyard Institute, 25 years of art and radical pedagogy by social practice artist and DePaul faculty member Jim Dignan. Some students at Northwestern University are calling for Greek life to be abolished following a controversy turned protest last month. Some members of two fraternities, Sigma Alpha Epsilon and Alpha Epsilon Pi, are accused of drugging women on campus at parties hosted at their houses. In response to the allegations, a large group of Northwestern students recently gathered outside the houses to protest Greek life. Victoria Grisanti is a Northwestern student who believes abolishing Greek life is the best way to prevent future drugging incidents.
I think abolishing Greek life is probably the right move. There's a lot of ways for students to find community on campus, and if that's the argument to keep it around, I don't think that's valid. In terms of the legacy of Greek life, I also don't think that's a valid argument. There's a lot of other institutions we could be supporting, and I don't think there's enough merit in keeping them around.
Grisanti says the future of Greek life is a heated topic among students.
It's very much well discussed on campus. Two of the Greek organizations that are in question right now are right across from my dorm. All of the dorms are right next to each other, so really living on North Campus, you're surrounded by the controversy and the protests as well.
Northwestern's Interfraternity Council banned all social events through January 3rd and all recruitment activities through November 7th. Following the drugging allegations and protests. Northwestern student Valentina Velasco also believes fraternities should be abolished.
There's a lot of really big issues surrounding Greek life, especially at this school. I think that a lot of it gets overlooked by the university as an institution, especially since so many of the people that are involved in making those decisions have a stake in Greek life and the legacy that it's had on their lives. So I think that abolishing it is definitely something that's going to be very difficult but necessary.
This isn't the first time fraternity members at Northwestern have been accused of drugging students. In 2017, 4 women made accusations that their drinks were drugged at Sigma Alpha Epsilon's fraternity house. This led to the frat being suspended for a year, but no other disciplinary actions were taken. Meanwhile, fraternity defenders feel it's unfair to condemn all members because of the actions of what they call a few. They say many fraternities are involved in meaningful service projects and that they're a great place for developing camaraderie and friendships for life. But to Velasco, the risk is too great to warrant keeping Greek life on campus.
It could be anyone, and I think that's what makes it hit so close to home. You could be in that situation, or your friends could be in that situation, and you don't know. So I think it is just more of a moral obligation to do the right thing.
Whether the university will take stricter action against fraternities is unclear. However, for many students, abolishing Greek life from campus is the only way forward. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Griffin Wright. Many students who have cars know the struggle of finding safe places to park. But for many incoming freshmen, like Tom Spookus, they have to learn this lesson the hard way.
I was driving with my friends to Chinatown. We wanted to go get some dinner. And I pulled my car into the Walgreens parking lot. Unbeknownst to me, there was a sign that said all non-customers will be towed, but I didn't see it. It was kind of hidden. We went 8 for 30 minutes. I came back and my car was gone.
This story is all too common for DePaul students with cars. Most private parking lots have signs stating that if you leave the property, your car is subject to being booted or towed.
It does kind of target, in a way, certain individuals, who may live in lesser developed places with no parking garage. I park on the street, I park underneath the L. I had a friend, my roommate, who parked underneath the L in the wrong spot and got towed as well, right behind our house. So it is predatory.
Many DePaul students park on streets just like this one. As you can see from the faded signage behind me, it's difficult to tell whether it's free to park here or not. Enrique Ravello is a freshman at DePaul who, after getting his car towed twice, has learned helpful tips on finding safe places to park.
Definitely pay attention to the signage. It's honestly more important and valuable than going on apps like Spot Angel or Spot Hero, where you can see where there's free parking. I would not suggest basing your decision on where you park based off those apps, because the city of Chicago does change signage all the time, and it could be free parking one day and not the next. You'll never know, and you will get towed.
Ravello knows all too well the exorbitant fees that come along with parking in the wrong spot. Sometimes these fees can be upwards of $300.
Students aren't high rollers, right? And these fees can add up on top of tickets. And the city of Chicago is pretty brutal about it, very abrupt. They're on the spot, it seems like, when it comes to towing. It's very inconvenient, very unreasonable, it seems like, especially for students and lower income individuals who are just trying to, get things done, go grocery shopping, get work done, things like that.
The city of Chicago and private towing companies are constantly on the lookout for cars to ticket or tow. By taking time to check for street signs with parking information, DePaul students can avoid being saddled with expensive fines and tickets. For Good Day DePaul, this is Griffin Wright. The decision to require DePaul students to get vaccinated before returning to class fall quarter has made some students more comfortable, but others uneasy. Vaccine hesitancy is one of the biggest challenges the nation faces to get back to a pre-pandemic normal, and even DePaul has skeptics. Charlie Herrick, a DePaul freshman, believes that students shouldn't be required to be vaccinated.
I think it's kind of unfair because I can see, I'm not an anti-vaxxer or anything, but I can see kind of the unsureness about the vaccine just because you never know what's going to happen over time. And because they did it so quickly, they can't say what's going to happen in 20 years. So that I feel like it's kind of unsure about it. And yeah, everybody's checked out and said it's safe, but I can see why people wouldn't want to get it. And I kind of find it unfair that they're forced to get it now if they want to kind of live a regular life or go to a college that they really like.
It's important to note that the CDC states that the COVID vaccines have cleared the Food and Drug Administration's strict testing requirements and have an extremely unlikely chance of causing long-term side effects. However, despite the science supporting the safety of the vaccine, some students still remain hesitant. Personal choice seems to be a core part of the debate. Currently, DePaul is planning to require all students and staff on campus to wear a mask in the fall, regardless of if they've been vaccinated. DePaul junior Adam Shegg thinks DePaul made the right choice requiring the vaccine.
As a DePaul student, I definitely can understand the concern. We are in the city. I am very self-aware of, that we are at a higher risk than, maybe somebody at a state school. However, I was going to get the vaccination either way, and all politics aside, I think it's the right decision for people to be getting vaccinated if, to return to the normalcy a lot quicker. I really, at the end of the day, as a private institution, I respect DePaul, putting their foot down and saying, yep, we want our students to be vaccinated.
It's unclear what new rules and changes DePaul will implement before students return to class next fall. It is clear that many students value personal choice in decisions that affect their health. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Griffin Wright. With DePaul back in person, many students are now visiting DePaul's Art Museum. The museum is opening the school year with 2 new exhibits that have an underlying theme that's been sorely missed during students' time away from campus: community.
I think, we're kind of in a moment where I think everybody's ready to kind of have that sense of community back, and particularly with the return of students to campus, which has been big for all of us. I mean, I think university, we made it through, but the university certainly doesn't feel the same without the students here.
That's Laura Caroline DeLaura, the interim director of DePaul's Art Museum. DeLaura believes that current exhibits are suited to an in-person experience.
I think for us, and particularly given sort of the content and the subject matter of both of the exhibitions that we're showing right now, so much of the work and the practice that these artists convey are really deeply embedded in a social practice. And so being with a community and having in-person conversations, there's just something different that happens in person when you're having a conversation with someone as opposed to kind of doing that awkward virtual Zoom lag.
There are 2 exhibits right now at the DePaul Art Museum. The first is called the Stockyard Institute, 25 years of art and radical pedagogy by social practice artist and DePaul faculty member Jim Dignan. The second exhibit is called Learned Objects, which brings together studio works from 4 different Chicago-based artists and educators. I sat down with Dignan to talk about his exhibit.
The Stockyard Institute is one of my practices in thinking about a more kind of radical way to think about pedagogy and learning and connecting up in those spaces, those community spaces, with people that I've been wanting to work with, who are kind of fellow experimenters.
Dignan founded the Stockyard Institute in 1995 as a practice that uses community grassroots organizing to respond to the needs, questions, and hopes of the youth, teachers, and activists in Chicago's neighborhoods. However, Dignan didn't create the entire exhibit alone.
And in most all of our projects, there's been this group of collaborators, both DePaul University students, teacher alumni, artist friends, children who have worked with me in building pieces that were answering the kind of questions they had about what kind of community they wanted to live in.
The art in both exhibits poses questions about what type of community Chicagoans want to live in. This is especially topical for DePaul, which is still deciding what its post-pandemic normal will look like on campus. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Griffin Wright. DePaul's Faculty Council is frustrated with the administration and Board of Trustees. That's why earlier this quarter, the council held what's known as a Council of the Whole meeting to begin the process of resolving tensions. The council summed up their concerns with 5 motions, which all passed with overwhelming support from faculty. The motions include items like reestablishing transparency and shared governance between the administration and faculty, plus reasserting faculty's role in new program and curriculum development. I sat down with the council's vice president, Professor Quinetta Shelby, and the council's secretary, Professor Victoria Toy DeOrio, to discuss what the council wants from the administration.
We're looking at it like, how do we best do this? What is the best way to rebuild a relationship that feels like has gone astray, and that, bring up more of a conversation, more transparency, more understanding of what each other does from the administrative and the board of trustees and the faculty, and how we interact with students, because that disconnect feels like what it seems like it's coming down to when we go through all the resolutions of what it's about. So for us, I think what we're looking at is like, how do we rebuild the relationships to benefit the students coming forward? That's really our focus.
Both DeOrio and Shelby believe that there's a clear path to resolution between the university's administration and faculty.
We need to reestablish better communication. And I think that that has been, I think the heart of most problems the origin of most problems start with a lack of communication. All of the faculty are confident that the administration and the Board of Trustees will meet with us, and we can come to some common ground and reestablish that shared governance relationship.
Good Day DePaul reached out to the administration for a response to the Faculty Council's positions. Administration officials released a statement saying, quote, "In a message to faculty last month, President Esteban reaffirmed a respect for the role of shared governance at the university and the primary responsibilities faculty have over academic and scholarly activities, faculty personnel matters, and educational interests and policies." Senior leaders acknowledged the voice of faculty through the ratification vote totals shared earlier this week and look forward to engaging in discussions with Faculty Council. Talks between the administration and Faculty Council are expected to begin sometime in the near future. In the meantime, the Faculty Council will continue to meet to discuss what they feel must be done for DePaul to provide students the best experience. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Griffin Wright.